know when it's okay. Perfect, I can see it. Great. Thank you, Yasmin. So good afternoon and welcome to this new EIC Scaling Up pitch session. So I see some familiar faces this afternoon, so that's great. So thank you for joining. Today I'm really pleased to welcome 4 amazing deep tech companies from the EIC Scaling Up program. So we'll have Fizzy first. So good afternoon, Ferdinand. Then we will have Epishine. Good afternoon, Matthias. After that, we will have David from Ainova. And then we will have Raphael from Lancé. So I'm also pleased to welcome 3 jury members for this session. So good afternoon, Julie.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here.
I don't know, Julie, if you want to say a few words about you.
So, hey, everyone. I'm an investor at EDF Plus Venture, the corporate VC of EDF. So we invest in Europe and North America in startups raising A and B round. Our check size is between 1 to 6 million euro, and we mostly invest as a strategic investor in the clean tech space. And I'm very glad to be here today.
Thank you so much, Julie. Then I see that we have also Stefan Rocker. So Stefan, good afternoon. We cannot hear you. You're muted. Not really.
So, and now?
Yes, perfectly.
Hello to Valentin. Hello to everyone. I'm Stefan Rocker, and I'm, in a nutshell, I'm a business advisor for tech entrepreneurs. I help them to build and finance their companies. And I'm also an expert for the EIC Accelerator and evaluator for the Swiss Innovation Agency. And my focus is on industrial technologies, and I'm extremely delighted and happy to support the EIC Scaling Up initiative. Happy to be there.
Thank you, Stefan. And then we have Silvio from Materwave Ventures. Good afternoon, Silvio.
Good afternoon, Valentin. Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be here and meet you all. I'm part of the investment team at Materwave Ventures. We are an early stage fund based out of Munich, Germany, investing across all of Europe in industrial deep tech companies across hardware and software, quite a broad range of themes, so robotics, frontier tech, computing, climate, of course, energy. Initial tickets 1 to 4 million.
Great, thank you, Silvio. Thank you for being here. So great. So for this session, so 4 companies, maximum 7 minutes per company for the pitch, and then we will have 5 to 10 minutes for the Q&A. So first, I will ask the jury members if you have a question for the CEO, and then for the other participants, you can still write down your question by using the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand to ask directly your question to the entrepreneurs. So let's start with the first company. So Ferdinand, the floor is yours. You can share your presentation.
Thank you for the introduction, Valentin. I will share my screen, and at the same time, my personal introduction. I'm a physicist by education, but am really passionate about using technology to build companies, but also to build with impact. And the company we've been building is Fizzy, and the product we offer is Sense. Let's start. So we've analyzed that globally there are 3 major challenges for buildings. Buildings need to become net zero, and very rapidly they need to become net zero. Buildings need to become more and more human-centric, especially after lockdowns. We are more and more aware that health and well-being, but also other user demands in buildings are more and more important for choices of tenants and building owners. And last, but certainly not least, there's a very important challenge that companies need to report on CSRD and on ESG regulations. So from January 2025 onwards, regulations on actual data measured inside buildings are mandatory for ESG reporting. And we see this as a very important driver of our market. And we also see some other things in our market. So let me start with the market first. To become net zero, human-centric and also accountable, we see that technology is needed. And on the left side, I have a graph where you can see the growth within commercial buildings, because our product focuses on commercial buildings, so non-residential. We see there's a very steady growth within the integration of Internet of Things, so IoT communication within the installation of buildings. Of course, there was a dip around COVID. The whole real estate sector was locked. However, the growth is quite steady. And if you zoom into those markets, you see actually the subspaces that we are active in 4 out of 10 of these subspaces that predict quite large growth. So lighting, power management, occupancy, and heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems. So we have these opportunities and challenges. Actually, we see that the market is actually moving towards facing these challenges. So what do we do in all of this? Well, we have developed an integrated intelligent building solution. We want to connect, and we are connecting everything, every installation inside the building. So we are connecting the blinds to the indoor temperature sensors, to the CO2 sensors, to the room booking systems, to everything inside the building, and we are adding our proprietary facade sensor to it. Why do we add a proprietary facade sensor? We've seen that the market looks at a building as a closed environment. However, a lot of the heat losses come through the building facade. Heat from the sun, but also light from the sun, and you need to get that data to get to better output. So what is better output? Well, if you choose for our solution, we offer our customers, which are real estate asset owners, because they enable scalable business model, we offer them 30% energy reduction on their projects. With our current business case, they on average have a payback time within 2 years. We help them increase the comfort for building users with more outdoor views, with increased daylight, but we also help them have their real estate rated on BREEAM, WELL, and ESG certifications in a better and more financially attractive way, and therefore their asset increases. So that's our value proposition. How exactly are we going to the market? Well, first of all, let me say to everybody who's in this call, the real estate market is a horrible market. It is very difficult to scale. It is very project-based, very siloed, difficult value chains, etc. So it took us a while to crack the code, but we've cracked the code by the following. We've broken it down into 2 steps. The first step is a CapEx investment for the owner of real estate. They invest in making a digital twin for the building. A digital twin is actually a building energy model in our case. They get a dashboard, they get our sensors and gateways to be able to gather all the data. Step 2 is where we're connecting everything that's in that building, and that's where our growth model kicks in. And they're paying us €2 per square meter per year. And with this, we're extracting the data from indoor sensors, we're controlling the light, we're changing the set points of building management systems, and we are controlling sun and light shading, all to have a positive impact on buildings. We're not the only one active in the market, but if you look at the smart building space, you see there are a lot of parties gathering data and only monitoring data and showing it to customers in dashboards. However, with this, we're not going to win the race of the energy transition. So you need to have at least data and control, which you see already less companies are active in. But if you are able to gather data, you're also able to control certain installations. Then you need predictive control algorithms. And we have very well developed algorithms together with the TU Delft, Delft University of Technology, their machine learning department, but also with our own building physics experts. We've been developing our predictive control algorithms to save energy in buildings. We launched this product at the end of 21. So actively, we've had 1 year of sales. And in this 1 year of sales, we've really seen the market has changed. Energy efficiency has gone from a nice to have to a must have. So we landed about 15 projects, a couple of them really with large size real estate owners. For example, AXA, they have 4 billion under assets, of which 40% in commercial buildings. And we are helping them now with the first and then the second and then their whole projects. And we want to help them with making their whole portfolio more sustainable. So that's our way of scaling up, going from one project into the portfolio funds of these asset owners. We were only targeting new build and retrofit, but as of January this year, we've certified our technology, so also sensors to be placed outside of a facade, so outside of the construction process. So now we can target in use and therefore also go internationally more easily. We've built a strong company culture. We exist already since 2014. The first 6 years we were developing electricity generating windows, which wasn't scalable. And now for the past 1.5 years, we've come to understand the market and have developed a product that has product market fit. We've been awarded by being the best and most innovative small medium enterprise in the Netherlands. We've been a B Corp already for 6 years. We have a strong management team. Our CFO has already been CFO for a previous company for 5 years and has sold that company to a stock listed US investor. But also our CTO is really hunted by Microsoft because his vision on smart building AI is very strong. We've been working with the supervisory board already for 3 years and know that we also have some blind spots are working with advisors. So this is for us the right time to raise. It is clean tech, it is energy efficiency, but it's also still real estate. So we need also an investor that really wants to do this together with us. We already have 5 million on the cap table of early stage real estate investors. Now we need the 5 million really to grow. So for our commercial rollout, we need to do additional feature development as well for the in-use building market we want to address. And we've actually launched this funding round, and already InvestNL, which is the Dutch large semi-government institution, has committed to be able to double whatever is going to be invested in us. So yeah, we're positive to the fundraising, but therefore I really want to look for the right match. That is a growth investor that wants to ride the wave of the energy transition with us. I believe that's 7 minutes. So
Indeed.
Hopefully you picked up what I wanted to share. Thanks for your attention.
Great. Thank you so much. Very good presentation, Ferdinand. So I will ask first the jury members if you have some question, and then I will ask also other participants. So I see one virtual hand. So first, let's see Julie, Silvio, and Stefan. Silvio, maybe if you have one question.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the presentation, Ferdinand. I was curious about if you can say something about the financial metrics. So you mentioned 15 paying customers, and also a price per square meter of €2. Can you say what that translates to revenues, current revenues, and sort of how is it distributed across the customer base? And then maybe as a second question, can you also say a bit about the effort in deploying the sensors, both in terms of cost, but also in terms of how long does it take you to set up the building, so and the technology, so you get the data you need?
Yeah, thank you, Silvio. Well, first of all, the first question is financially and growth related. What we've done, we created a growth strategy in which also, and I think many in this call can recognize that over the past years, we've gotten more, we need to develop a focus more also on becoming profitable on our own, because it's a different financial landscape. So therefore, what we've done, we've split it in this CapEx investment for our customers. And this is actually for ourselves to already become profitable. Within these CapEx investments this year, we're going to end with 1.5 million, and a quarter next year, we see to become already profitable with these CapEx investments. Then the growth model is in the fees. And these subscription fees, an average project of us is 15,000 square meters. So we charge €2 per square meter. They sign a contract for 10 years. So that stacks up. However, these 15 projects have been new build and retrofit projects. So it takes a while for this revenue to start stacking up. Therefore, we're targeting now the existing building space. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insights on our traction and current growth. So you can note down 1.5 million for this year in actual revenue, of which 2/3 is already sold last year. Then your second question related to sensors, deployment of them, I believe also a bit in the sourcing is, so we've standardized our sensors. They don't have any batteries. They have 2 solar cells, a lux and temperature and air quality sensor. We have them. We have now 2,000 on stock. On an average project, we do 100 sensors. So there's not that many. Our sourcing isn't the too difficult part. If we want to install them on a project, we just add them to the window with a 3M tape, which is tested for this purpose. So we also don't need any third-party installers. We can just add these sensors. And then how long does it take? It takes about 3 months to do actual energy savings. You need to learn how to understand where the inefficiencies of a BMS are, etc. So it takes about 3 months, but to have a full year will bring you to the best insights, because then you have had 4 seasons. And every season a building operates slightly different. But after 3 months, we are already delivering value for the customer.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you, Silvio. Julie, please.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ferdinand, for the great presentation. I was wondering, so regarding your existing project, is your system or solution plugged into the building management system, and can it really, override the BMS to take control of the building, sort of?
Yeah, thank you, Julie, as well for this question. This is where the difference actually becomes in with all of the different solutions. What we do is we change the set points.
Okay.
And we don't want to take the driver's seat of the BMS, because the BMS needs to control the valve or needs to do the actual actuators. And we are a layer on top of it that's saying, okay, this valve can be opened already 30 minutes earlier, or only at 50%. So we are changing the set points, and then the BMS is actually controlling it. This helps us in our demarcation and also guarantee story towards the owner, that they know that if there's something wrong with the valve or anything else, they need to go to the BMS. And if the energy savings aren't met or there are differences in it, they need to come to us. Okay,
and very quick follow-up question on the IP. So you mentioned a spin out from TU Delft. So who owns the IP today, and how do you share revenues with TU Delft if you
fully ourselves? So fully ourselves. The TU Delft has one spin out entity that invests in the spin outs. Valorization entity. It's called Delft Enterprises. And they are a minority shareholder on our cap table. We originally once made a deal with them, which is quite favorable for us. So we're happy to have it all sorted out. There are no loose ends or anything like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Stefan, please. We cannot hear you, Stefan. You're muted.
Sorry, should I speak?
Let me ask first Stefan Eikes, and then we will. Yes, can you hear us, Stefan? We cannot hear you.
And no, should be
yes.
better. sorry, Ferdinand. Great presentation. I have a follow-up questions actually to one of the previous questions.
Yeah.
If I am a building owner or a facility management company, I have multiple choices actually. If I want to reduce my environmental footprint or reduce my energy consumption, like PV panels on the roof or wind turbines on the roof and so on. And I understand from your value proposition, from your solution, that one need to invest at least 75K as a one-shot investment. And I wanted up to 200. I wanted to know, how do you cope with these alternative solutions that they are currently on the market?
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. We actually discovered this in our sales strategy. So when we presented our dashboard to the login to AXA, which is one of these customers like such, what they liked even the most is our tab reporting. Because what our system does, besides the actual saving of energy, we do a quarterly report on how much energy is saved, how much energy is used, how much air quality there was in the building. And they actually said, we can just almost one-on-one copy this for our ESG reporting. So compared to putting solar panels on your roof, which I always support, or on the facade or that, we offer one, energy efficiency, but we also help in the CSRD or ESG reporting. And this has another value. We're solving another problem which we did not went out to solve, but actually we realized that that is where the coming years there will be the biggest growth opportunity.
Yeah, and for me, thanks for the position, because for me it's really something key that you should put forward. It's an additional value proposition to your solution, which is very, very important currently.
We should put it more in the presentation, but it goes so fast. So scaling up live is never a boring moment.
Thank you, Stefan. So we still have 1 minute. So AK, so it's great to see you here. So you can ask your question. We cannot hear you this time.
You're mute.
You're mute, AK.
I'll have 1 minute. In this case, I end on a positive note for you, Ferdinand. As chance will have it, I'm currently partnering with the venture fund that is specialized exactly on that sector and that is looking for investments. They have got a first fund of 150 million and 3 unicorns. They're setting up another second fund. So I invite you to contact me at contact@finentra.com. And maybe we can speak some more.
Yeah, I will make the intro to. I will connect you to Ferdinand, Eike.
Thank you, Eike, and thank you, Valentin, and thank you all.
Thank you. So I see one last virtual end. So Clarisse, maybe you have one question.
Yeah, hi, Ferdinand. Thank you very much. I was wondering, you were saying you're looking for like an aligned investor. So you have a specific kind of investor in mind, like are you only looking for a lead investor like a fund, or are you also open to business angels tickets?
No, we are not, preferably not open to business angels, because we already have some business angels and I'm extremely grateful how they've helped us over the first years. But now I would like to have a partner that's really help us to professionalize and that knows also a bit more how a software hardware combination is rolled out. It's really a different scaling help we need. So I also need some help from an investor instead of me explaining to investors what exactly we're going to do. And I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, completely. No, I was just thinking about that, even though the people are like in real estate, for instance. So I thought it might be helpful, but I completely understand.
Great. Thank you, Clarisse. And thanks again, Ferdinand, for this presentation. So we need to move through the next one. So Matthias, if you are ready, you can start sharing your presentation, please.
So where is that window?
So okay.
Is that the right one?
Let me check. Yes, yes, perfect. So you can start anytime.
So great. My name is Mattias Josefsson, and I am one of the founders and the entrepreneur behind Swedish Epishine, a spin out from Linköping University, working with printed solar cells. And our ambition is to take global lead in roll-to-roll printing of solar cells. A very interesting vision and ambition. A bit more of that in the end of the presentation. Our first product is what you see on the picture at the left. It's a different and maybe unexpected solar cell. A small solar cell optimized for ambient light to revolutionize IoT power supply. And we recently made a strategic deep dive, especially on the commercialization side, together with Strategy End, which is the McKinsey part of PricewaterhouseCoopers. And this is the summary of that report. And I would use the topics from that summary as the outline for this presentation. We have an innovative solution to a growing problem for small electronics. The digital transformation will require trillions of remote sensors, displays, and beacons, and they all need power.
Matthias, we cannot hear you anymore. Sorry, I don't know why, but it seems that you are muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So we have an innovative solution to a growing problem for small electronics. The digital transformation will require trillions of remote sensors, displays, and beacons, and all of them need power. It's too expensive and often impossible to power them with wires, and it's too expensive to pay someone to replace batteries in all these devices. It's also unreasonable battery waste situation we are heading. The only way the Internet of Things will reach billions or trillions is with self-powered electronics, which is one holy grail within the electronics industry today. So we are targeting an indoor power solution market of 10 to 15 billion euros, where the devices could be powered by ambient light. The growth rate will be between 30 and 130%, depending on the development of sustainability policies and regulations. And we expect new European regulations limiting the use of non-rechargeable batteries in the next few years. And already today, large companies like IKEA enforce their sustainability policies and actually stop reselling all non-rechargeable batteries. How do you design self-powered electronics? Outdoors, it's quite easy because the sun has a lot of energy. Where you have strong heat or where you have strong vibration, it's also easy. But one of the few ubiquitous available natural energy resources is light. So if you could build something that could be powered by light, that is extremely interesting. The problem with light is that a lot of the Internet of Things will be placed where you have quite little light, like 30 lux or 5 lux or something like that. And the conventional solar cell technologies have the big disadvantage that the lower light you have, the more unpredictable the performance will get. And it's actually an exponential problem, the lower light you have. So as you see in the picture here, the different devices spread more and more the lower light you have. This is 500 lux and even worse at the actual places where these need to work. We have superior capabilities in indoor light conditions, protected by patents, high and predictable performance down to actually 1 lux. The father of Epishine technology is Professor Oling Anas, and he started to, he has been leading the research at Linköping University for 30 years within printed and organic electronics. And actually, he funded research within printing solar cells roll to roll that made very important breakthroughs that are, and those patents belongs to Epishine after the company started. We are supported by a strong team with experience of starting, building, and scaling up industrial manufacturing through our new CEO, Anna. We also have experience of taking global innovation out in the world to global leading position. My previous company to new Swedish innovation and to leading position in the world, and finally sold to Google-owned Motorola. We have built our first industrial production line. So we have a small first industry with the capacity of printing millions of small solar cells per year. We are ISO certified. We have been through the first big customer factory audits, and we are already now building our next factory that will have the capacity to scale to billions or tens of billions of small solar cells per year. And we will move to those facilities later this year. The first customers already have Epishine power products on the market. The three first is Optico, Elsys, and SET, all of them within PropTech in different ways, which is our focus segment that we are selling to in this period. We also have global manufacturing giants who are discussing orders in millions, and for example, one of the PropTech giants already have built a new batteryless sensor platform based on our with the solar cell and made the three first products on that platform, which will go out in 6 pilots in a few weeks, together with two of the giants in a collaboration. We plan to reach break even 2026, 6 years after we founded the company, 10 years after, which is quite quick for a deep tech company like us, and have a revenue of 50 million euros the year after. And some very short words in the end here. We think that the biggest energy source of the future will be solar energy. we're convinced it will be like that, and that the most scalable solar cell manufacturing of the future is roll-to-roll printing. Most certainly, most of the square meters of solar cells in the future will be manufactured in a roll-to-roll printing process. So by taking global lead in printing solar cells roll-to-roll, we are doing this first small solar cell, which is a case that stands at its own with unicorn potential only for this kind of phase. But meanwhile, we are positioning the company for the most scalable solar cell manufacturing of the future. Right now, we are raising 6 to 10 million euros. 5 million is already closed. And the spring 2024, we will do around in the size of 30 to 50 million euros. A bit more than 7 minutes. Thanks a lot for listening.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Matthias. Very good pitch as always. Great. So we have some time for the questions. So again, let me ask first the jury if you have any question for Matthias.
I can start if that's okay.
Yeah.
Hey Matthias, thanks a lot for the great presentation. I mean, what your company is creating is very exciting. So I'm curious, maybe I missed it in the presentation, but the two products you mentioned, Optico and the other one, are they in the market today? Like, do they work? And regarding price parity with similar devices, how do they compete?
Yes, they are on the market today. So the first 3 companies have products on the market using our solar cells as the power source, and with very good traction. One of them is doing a kind of agnostic system that works with a lot of big building systems, building automation systems. So when we've been out at the expos during the fall, we saw our green. It's kind of maintenance free and sustainable. A very strong message. So it's put up everywhere at a lot of the both, for example, at Siemens, both very central. And I spoke too much. What was the last question? The pricing.
It was price parity.
Yes. So since we are actually well aligned with the solar cells that not have this problem at low light that other solar cells have, and it's about double the price compared with similar solar cells that really doesn't work.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Stefan?
Hello, Matthias. Great to see you again.
Hey.
I remember from our previous discussions that a significant challenge was to convince key partners, especially distribution partners. And I noticed that you have a quite important sales funnel. And I would like to know if you can tell more about it. What is already booked today to secure the turnover in 2023 and 2024 to have a better idea?
Yeah. So maybe I could share just a few slides on that. So firstly, last week we made a fantastic press release together with Pricer, which is the world's second largest company within electronic shelf labels, and that is actually not our focus segment. This is a kind of a it's opening up the next segment for us more or less, which is retail, and they. So we did a press release about a strategic partnership together. They used to be the biggest actor within electronic shelf labels, but are the second biggest today, but are really trying to get back. And they are selling today 30 million shelf labels per year and having an increase of 30% per year or more. So if we're looking at our figures, where we also have volumes, you could see that Pricer alone could count for our forecast that we have in the future, where we have forecasted 25 million solar cells or modules 2027, which is very interesting. And actually, when we did this strategy and analysis, they looked at the big customers that we had in our funnel and thought that we needed to do some kind of percentile overview, scenario overview. And this said that we have more or less 100% probability to follow this business plan. We have 25% probability to double it and 10% probability to 10 double it, according to the big volumes related to the big accounts in the funnel.
Great, thanks a lot. I'm happy for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan. Silvio, I don't know if you have any question. If no, okay, I see. Matthew, maybe you have one question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes.
Okay. Very quick question. What's the average bill of material per device for Epishine, and what's the average margin you would be doing on that?
What was the first average? The average?
The average bill of material per device.
Okay. So when we are doing small volumes like today, we to have a quite expensive situation. So we have more or less a zero game since we are doing short rolls, and the shorter rolls we are doing, the more waste we have. And also there is a lot of volumes benefits by being able to buy the material cheaper, and also using the machines a larger amount of the week and things like that. So over time, if we could keep the prices we have today, we would make like 80% in margins over time. But the prices will go down as well.
And what's your assumption in terms of price decline or cost decline?
So we my assumption is that 2026, when we do the break even, or a bit before, we'll have met somewhere around 40% margin.
Let me reformulate. To achieve this 80% margin you mentioned at the beginning, you need to cut cost by what, 10x?
So then it's 1/5.
Okay.
That was from the assumption that we kept the current prices. So it's like 1/5 of the selling price in that case, and the cost we have today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mathieu. So maybe just a quick question, Matthias, because we still have 1 or 2 minutes. So you mentioned that so you are looking for fund, of course, where 5 million are closed. So how is that round going?
Yes, we did a budget where we needed to have at least 6 million euros, but are open for take a little bit more right now. And we actually closed 5 million in a quite short period, but have been working a while with some bigger players. And actually yesterday, we wrote a term sheet with a quite big Norwegian ESG fund, where they have exclusivity for 6 weeks for additional 5 million euros. So it looks good.
Great, perfect. So thank you so much, Matthias, for your time and for the presentation. So we need to move through the next one. So thanks. David, if you can hear me, I will let you share your screen. I think David is just joining perfect on time. Hi, David. Can you hear me well? I cannot hear you. You're mute. You need to turn on your mic, David. Okay, I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Yes. Okay, sorry for that. I have a very weak. I'm attending the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. We have a booth here, but the connection in the Mobile World Congress is not the best. It's really weak. So sorry and apologize for the problems. Let me share my screen. Going a little bit slow. In the midterm, let me introduce a company. I am the CEO of Alternative Energy Innovations. We're a startup company based in Barcelona, born 2015, and aiming to help the big industries to become more efficient and sustainable. And what I try to present you today is a problem in the industry, because industry is digitalizing its assets and processes to be more efficient in its operations. That's what we call Industry 4.0. And there are two ways to do that. The first one is using the typical and traditional wired sensor networks. That means a high investment in equipment, a high investment in engineering. It's a really complex systems and really not flexible. The alternative to that, it's a more modern wireless sensor networks, the industrial IoT, that requires really less investment, really flexible systems, but with a high maintenance cost and not environmentally friendly, because all these IoT, industrial IoT systems uses lithium batteries to get the power for the sensors. What we propose is a battery-less self-powered IoT solution based on thermoelectric technology. And that is because in big industries, we can find hotspots, temperature everywhere around, or even as a part of the process, or because the machines are hot from its own functioning. You can see on the right side an installed system. We have here a hot pipe, steam pipe, where we attached our thermoelectric device. Then we have an IoT node with long-range communications. And finally, we have a sensor measuring, in this case, vibrations on an engine, on a motor of a pump. We offer also a full solution to our clients. That means that we offer a solution from the sensor up to the software to help our clients to monitor their assets, to monitor processes. The software is a software as a service platform for industrial sensors with dynamic reporting, alarms, predictive maintenance, and data management capabilities. And as I said, the wireless sensor system is a battery-less system that generates its own power by transforming the waste heat from machines and processes. The impact of our solution for the clients is huge. Digitalizing assets and processes, we can reduce up to 25% the maintenance costs of the industrial plants, of big industrial plants like oil refineries, chemical plants, and similars. We can reduce 70% unexpected breakdowns, and that costs a lot of money, not because the asset is expensive. The pump is not a really expensive asset. If the pump breaks, you usually need to stop the full process behind that, and that costs a lot of money. And finally, we can reduce up to 40% the downtimes due to the planning of a better planning of the maintenance, machine learning algorithms. And the cost of our solution compared with other solutions in the market, I will go back to that, is 85% less implementation cost compared with traditional wired solutions, and 65% less maintenance cost compared to other battery-powered sensors in the market. And more important than that for our company is we reduce by 90% the greenhouse gas emissions compared to the IoT systems that you can find in the market and that are battery-driven. The global IoT sensor market is huge. It's a 43 billion market by 2025, with an annual growth of 24%. In this market, I have to say we have some experience. We have 16 POCs, 16 pilots working in big industries in different sectors, from oil and gas, iron and steel, chemical and cement, always with big companies and very positive feedback. Our business is simple. Hardware is a B2B business. We sell the hardware, and the software is a software as a service with a subscription, with a clear focus: oil and gas, chemical industries, iron, steel, paper, cement, and other energy-intensive industries. From the point of view of geography, Europe is our local market. USA and America is probably the second biggest market. Japan is an important market for us because it's a big industrial market for itself and probably the bridge to the rest of Asia. We will start a pilot in Tokyo in just 2 weeks. I will be there starting a pilot with our friends in Japan, and the Middle East, of course, is also a big market from the point of view of gases. We just finished to develop and certify our technology this last year, 2022, and we started our commercial activity this year, 2023, with some first sales to our, let me say, early adopters, to some of our early adopter companies. Considering that our sales process is quite long, we're focusing on this that can take 12 to 18 months. We are really, really happy with the first sales that helped us to validate the business model, but also all the production, which is outsourced in supplier, external supplier. Our competitors are big brands like Bosch, General Electric, ABB, Emerson. You can see here the positioning. We are the only, let me say, suppliers with a low environmental impact product and low OPEX. On the left side, you can see General Electric or Bosch with a wired sensor with a high CapEx. And or on the other side, you can see ABB and Emerson with battery-driven devices with a high environmental impact and high OPEX. So I think our positioning and our pricing is really, really fitting with the market. We have a professional board of directors in which we can count with a former vice president of BASF Europe and former CEO of BASF in Spain, but also with Inno Energy in our board, or mostly senior directors, but also we count with a professional board of advisors for all the leads that we can have in our board, in our management. Until now, we have had 9 European Union grants to develop our technology, to help us to develop technology, and many international and national awards and recognitions. We have also second technology based on the same core IP, which is the waste heat recovery units. That means that we can use a thermoelectric technology also to recover waste heat from big industrial facilities. This solution, this product, is in tier L6 with 5 POCs that will be in the market, I hope, in 2 or 3 years. Now we have invested until now in the company 5 million euros, 50% non-dilutive grants, 50% equity, mainly from private investors like business angels and family office. We have no big venture capital in the company. Now we are focusing on 5 million in the actual round. One of that is committed by the European Commission, by the EIC, and the rest should be from venture capital. We will focus, we'll invest this 5 million in sales, people and product pipeline to develop more, let me say, more solutions, more IoT solutions for different sectors, for different segments. Now we are working with vibration sensors to detect problems on machines. We are also working on steam leak detection for steam traps and chemical and oil and gas plants, but we have many other solutions in mind that we will develop during the next month. And this is more or less what I can tell you about the company in 5 or 7 minutes. And sorry again for the bad connection.
Thank you, David. So we kind of heard the presentation, so that's fine. So let's start with the question. Stefan first, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Stefan.
Perfect. It works this time. It's a pleasure to see you again, David, and especially
Thank you,
with your company keeping on growing. I have one remark or one question related to your sales cycle. You mentioned up to 18 months. I would like to ask you the question for the industrial field test. What is the standard duration, for instance, for a cement plant?
Okay, for a cement plant, that's a good question. Because we just finished a pilot with Cemex, which is one of the biggest cement companies in the world. It took 3 months. So we have been testing our technology in a cement plant during 3 months. In 3 weeks, I have a meeting with the board of Cemex for the feedback from the pilot, and then we will start to speak with all the purchasing people of the company to see if we can sell them the projects.
Yeah, if I may just
here,
ask you a more specific question, sorry. What is the trigger to bring them to buy your solution after this 3-month field test?
That is again a good question. So Femix, they have, as a company, they have a clear plan to digitalize their plants. Actually, the plants are very manually, let me say, maintained. So they have a lot of people doing preventive maintenance of the big machines inside the plant. That is costly, that is not efficient, and they try to digitalize all these machines, all these executing machines around. That is the first trigger. So the willingness to digitalize the plant. Secondly, to do it with the best technology, with 2 requirements. One, it has to be easy to install, yeah, with not big engineering projects. Secondly, it has to be environmentally efficient because they have a real decarbonization policy. So we just fit in both. So we have a plug solution, easy to install. At the same time, we help with the environmental issue in that company. That is really the 2 triggers: digitalization and environment.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Silvio and then Eike.
Yeah, thanks, David, for the presentation. I had a question on the current revenues. It wasn't clear from the chart how much revenue you already achieved in 22 and from how many customers. So if you can say a bit about that would be great. And then another question, can you say a bit about the IP protection for the technology? Yeah, thanks.
Okay, that is a good question again. So during 2022, we just sold pilots. Yeah, we don't give technology for free, so all our pilots are paid, and the revenue was very short. It was just 60,000 euro. Yeah, just from the pilots. This year we expect to sell at least 500,000 euros because we are focusing on our early adopters. So we will try to convert these pilots into sales. The big revenue come next year and after that because of the long pipeline, the long sales pipeline with big companies in the B2B business. Regarding the IP, we have a main patent in Europe, United States, and Canada about the thermoelectric technology itself, which is the core of the system. And then we have 3 more patents ongoing, presented for the devices itself. Yeah. So, and then we have a lot of, let me say, trade secret inside the company, because we don't like to patent all what we do, not to give our potential competitors ideas about how to do that. Because in our case, there is a lot of knowledge behind the system. Thermoelectric technology is well known. Yeah, you know, in space, the NASA uses thermoelectric technology to power spacecraft. So the technology is well known. The difficulty here is how to use space technology on Earth for industrial purposes with industrial components to be easy to produce, but at industrial prices, so that the pricing has to be right. So this knowledge is inside the company and under trade secret, but there is the core is our patent.
Perfect, thank you, David. Eike, please.
Yes, hello, David. Nice to see you again. I'm glad all is going well.
Hello.
Some of the questions have been posed by Silvia already, so I will just compliment. For my understanding, I was already convinced of your company last year. So, so what I would like to know is get a better understanding of what has happened since last year. I know there were some topics we had discussed in terms of streamlining or refocusing on particular product lines rather than others, and I also believe you have fully upscaled your commercial activities since then. Could you speak a little bit more about just the time frame of last year?
Okay, yes, of course. As you probably remember, last year we had our, let me say, product partially finished. We were at 90%, but with one certification certification, which is very important for us, which is the ATEX and EFX certification. This certification allows us to install our devices into exclusive areas, and that opens the door to many industries, again, like oil and gas, chemical plants, but also some food lines where you can find explosive areas. This certification took us 2.5 years. Now we have it. We have the certificate. This was a really important part in our development, yeah, getting the certification. Secondly, we were working on the production process. As I explained, the production is outsourced. We have local suppliers to build and to assemble the devices. We did a lot of work into working on this production process to be able to scale it up easily, yeah, to avoid constraints in our production process. That takes a lot of time to establish the processes together with our suppliers. Having also the ATEX certification together with the suppliers, that was the secondly. And then cost reduction. We have been working reducing the cost of the product, yeah, simplifying the engineering behind that, simplifying the components, and using standard industrial components to make it easy. Because the idea is produce close to clients. That means that for European clients, European market to produce here in Europe. But then when we go abroad, say United States, we want to produce there. And this is really related to the environmental issue. It makes no sense for us to help industries to reduce carbon dioxide emissions on one side with the technology, and then producing and shipping it with containers emitting a huge amount of carbon dioxide emissions. Yeah. So we need to have a very, very easy and clear production process, making it the easiest possible, and reducing also the cost. Nowadays, we're working with a gross margin of 50%, 50. But in the future, we want to have the 70% of gross margins more adequate for our product. Yeah. This is what we have done during this year, besides of testing and some new pilots in different industries to validate the product in that specific industry or sector.
Great. Thank you, David, for this update, and again for the pitch. So as we are running quite late, so we will move through the next and last presentation. So you can just stop sharing your presentation, David. And then I'm pleased to welcome Raphaël from Lancé.
Thank you, Valentin. And to the other participants, the members of the jury, and probably a couple of the people we've met already last year. I'd like to say thank you for giving us once more the opportunity of pitching in front of you. Let me talk about Lancé Energy Storage, which is a young SME based in Grenoble, France. We are about 40 people with a mission to provide a sustainable and affordable comfort for everyone. In a context, of course, where the energy prices are skyrocketing. We know that about 97% of the European buildings are not compatible with a net zero society and must be retrofitted by 2050. And of course, that's a huge opportunity in terms of renovation and for new solutions to be more efficient. That's why we've developed a solution which is really a transition solution from traditional heating system that can represent up to 70% of the energy bill of a building, and a new world of renewable energies organized into a smart grid. This system is the Lancé Capella. It's an electric heating system with battery storage, 6 different sensors, artificial intelligence for the management. It's protected by 12 patents families. We were actually usually very lucky of being awarded by the EDF Pulse Award in 2018. That, of course, is a great recognition for us, and still we're working a lot with EDF today, and we are glad of this. And that's a solution that is plug and play, but that can be associated with a solar panel, a link with the smart meter, and eventually associated with auxiliary products to cover all the heating needs and transform a traditional house fully heated by traditional electric heating system to a complete home energy management system with self-consumption features through the storage. We can generate a very quick return on investment. We are much cheaper than a heat pump, for instance, and we are working today on energy as a service commercial offer to even reduce the investment barrier to our end users. And we've evaluated that our solution can be among the best solutions for 1/3 of the European buildings. So of course, a huge opportunity that we want to convert and that we are actually already converting. We talk about 2,000 units already installed with very prestigious references, including one building for the Olympics of Paris. We have a 10 million euro backlog today. We're gonna deliver 2.6 million euros just for this semester, S1 23. We work mainly today with social landlords, with energy suppliers, including EDF, and we are starting this year distributions. As an example, we've sold 20 units since the start of our offer with Sonology in France. That was started actually last Friday, so it goes pretty quick with them. It's direct to customer business model. We've realized a couple of achievements since our last fundraising in 2019. We have a product that is today on the market since 1 year, which is manufactured by Bosch. We have 12 patent families and a freedom to operate. We've proven our ability to fundraise, and we talk today about 18 different LOIs with different partners that will pave the way for the commercial expansion of the society. Of course, nothing can be done without a very strong team, almost 40 people today, close to gender equality, and a very skilled executive committee that will create the middle management structure and continue to grow up to 2027. Of course, especially with a highlight on the commercial forces. We have a fabless business model with Bosch as a main manufacturer for our products. Means that Bosch produces for us our products and take in charge a big part of the running capital. And we focus on the sales development and the services associated with our product to generate both valuable services to the end user, but also recurring revenues to the Lancet's business model. We have a battery storage, artificial intelligence management, a connection to the cloud. We can, of course, make demand response mechanisms. That's part of the business model. And we're working today on our first operation this year that would generate more than 100K euro per year just with the valorization of the demand response capacity. Our next steps will be about the commercial developments in France first, then in the rest of Europe. We plan to be capital positive in the beginning of 2024. And we will focus our development on a couple of areas, including Germany and UK. And this month, in March, we're going to make our first installations in Nuremberg and London. That will be, of course, the first sign of traction for those markets. We are making right now our Series B, and we would be happy to answer your question. Thank you. And sorry for the screaming. I have a 3-month daughter at home, which is a bit participating to this today's meeting.
Thank you, Raphael. Very good presentation. So less than 7 minutes, so that's great. So we still have time for the questions. So I can see that Stefan should have one for you.
Yes, great presentation. Thank you. I want actually your company seems to be in a position to access traditional bank financing or bank loans, and I just would like to get your opinion where you stand on this.
Yeah. Totally agree with you. The best of all banks, which is of course Bpifrance, is today our main banking partner, and we have a pool of banks that is really with us. So you're right. We started Factor this year, and we've tried really to use all the mechanisms that are available through our special status of innovative company in France, which is, as you know, pretty generous. So you're absolutely right. but today it's not sufficient if we just talk about the funds of the company, fonds propres, that we need to reinforce to convert new bank loans to stand in the ratios, if you will. We are not break even for the moment. It means that for today, it limits a bit our ability to grow. That's why we need a small Series B to reinforce these funds.
Yes, just to make or to precise my thinking, I understand that you have a 10 million order backlog that you will produce all of these orders more or less within probably 18 months, and that you have a fabless business model. So this is why I wanted to get your opinion, because for me you should be financed by the traditional bank system, actually. Well, or you could at least.
We're trying really to make to get everything we want from our banking partners. But again, if we want to follow a bit faster commercial development than purely organic, we need to hire a couple of sales forces, etc. Today, you have 4 people for the commercial forces at Lancet. To go above 12 million euros of turnover next year, that's going to be a bit short. So I'm not saying that we cannot develop without a fundraising, but we think that there is a momentum that we can take, and to try to keep the first mover advantage that we've started to have.
Okay, thank you, Raphael.
Thank you, Stéphane. Julie, please.
Yeah, thanks, Raphael, for the presentation. I'm curious just to know, is each heater acting as an individual battery, or can they be pooled to act as a big virtual power plant?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the two aspects. Each system is controlled individually. That means that one single unit works standalone. You have no gateway. You have nothing to connect to the management cloud. And of course, we can then build demand reserve entity or virtual power plant. It's the same thing, which is actually a pool of objects which are monitored in real time with a model predictive control on the load curves that can be aggregated then. And of course, we can apply different constraints that would be straightly coming from the grid state. For instance, a peak period from 7 to 8 during the winter. That's typically a constraint that we can manage in order to generate demand response mechanisms, and or eventually to organize a kind of meta energy supplier that would then work in a big collective self-consumption scheme that could convince actually more and more prosumers that are interested in, let's say, alternative energy suppliers that you know very well at being the EDF in France.
Okay, and then just an additional question. Thank you. Curious to learn if you made like customer persona, because I mean the heater seems great, but it seems to be a state-of-the-art product, sort of. So what kind of customers are buying your product today?
Mm-hmm. So that can be a bit surprising, but actually 75% of our units are installed in social landlords environment. So here we have a perception, what we call a perception bias. We could think social landlords, they don't have cash to invest into their real estate. Actually, that's completely wrong. They have obligation actually to renovate, but they also have budgets for this. And more than that, they have real people that suffer of fuel poverty that will be also screaming, like my daughter right now, if no retrofit is done. So we have done really good job, and especially one with Neolia that we've done, so Groupe Action Logement, that we've done actually with EDF Commerce Grand Est, so with one of your colleagues. And we appreciate in a way that we take with this state-of-the-art product, exactly as you said, a bit the north face of commercial development, which is to start by social landlords. But that's really part of the DNA of a society. We want to fight fuel poverty that can be really probably the main enemy of the energy transition itself, or the acceptation of the energy transition. So we, in a way, we're very glad to have this very innovative product in a social demanding environment, in a way.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, for your question. So I don't know if you have any other question. I can see any other virtual hand or question in the chat. So I think it was really clear, Raphael. So thank you again for the presentation. And thank
Thanks
you all. You all made a very good presentation this afternoon. So as always, investors will all be given this evening your contact info and have also the opportunity to book one-on-one meetings. And I want to thank also the jury members. So thank you so much, Julie, Xavier, and Stéphane, for your time and for your participation during this pitch session. Hope to see you soon and maybe next week in our on-site event in Paris. So thank you all. Have a great day and talk to you soon.
Thanks, everyone.
Congrats to all. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Merci, Valentin.
Je t'en prie, salut Raphaël.
Salut, salut.
Merci, au revoir.